Hello, everyone. My name is Alyssa Osterbach, and I am on our admissions team here at Flatiron School. We're so excited that you joined our cybersecurity info session today. Really, our goal today is just to connect with you a little bit more, answer some questions about our cybersecurity program, and then definitely leave time at the end. So if you guys have additional questions or anything else that we don't cover today, we can go over those. So we really do believe in accessibility here for our students. So I am going to be recording this event. I'm also going to turn on the closed captionings as well so that we can get those covered for everybody. But we will just kick it off here. As I mentioned, before we started recording, we do send out these recordings about 3 business days after the event ends. So if anybody missed it and wants to rewatch it, we will be sending that out to you guys via email. But let's kick it off. So a little bit about our agenda today. We're going to do an intro to myself and my colleague Scott, who we are, a little bit about us. We're going to tell you a little bit about Flatiron School. Obviously do an overview of our cybersecurity program. We'll talk about the admissions process if you're interested in pursuing a career in cybersecurity with us. Talk about a little bit of our outcomes, so what we're seeing for our students after graduation. Scott's going to go over some stuff about career services with you guys, everything that entails, because ultimately that's why you're here, right? To get a new career in cybersecurity. And then I'll leave some time at the end for any Q&A so we can talk through that. And then we'll talk about some next steps if you want to move forward with our cybersecurity program. As I mentioned previously, we are going to use the chat feature. So make sure if you guys do have questions, we'll be monitoring that. Please throw those in there. And hopefully we'll be able to kind of answer those as we go. If not, we'll definitely go back and answer them at the end. Please make sure that your chat is also switched from host and panelist to everyone so that we all can see your questions, because I'm sure they're really good ones that would benefit everyone. So without further ado, as I mentioned previously, my name is Alyssa Osterbach. I am an admissions team lead here at Flatiron School. So all things admissions, that's me. I have a background in event management and event planning, also education, obviously boot camp wise, and traditional education. I worked in higher ed for quite a while previously. I also just this last December got my master's in human resource management. As I mentioned too, I am in Tampa, Florida, so we are all suffering in this heat together, I think, this August. But I'm a DIYer, golfer, dog mom, love some board games, and organization is my love language. So I'm definitely excited to meet you guys as well, and again, get into some cybersecurity stuff. And I'll pass it over to my colleague, Scott, to introduce himself.
Hey everyone, my name is Scott Bowman. I'm Senior Manager of Career Coaching for Cybersecurity and Enterprise Programs here at Flatiron School. I've had the privilege of working with students of every single discipline throughout our program, and more specifically in supporting our cybersecurity job seekers for the last 6 years. And I'm very, very privileged to have that. I have nothing but good news and positivity about the job market right now in cybersecurity, which is expected to grow by 35% over the next decade. So there's no shortage of opportunities. And I get to help students be creative. I really get to help them better understand best practices, forge new processes as well, and really ensure the highest quality experience for all of our job seekers as they progress towards their goals. So I'm based in Denver, Colorado. I have a master's degree in higher education leadership. I'm originally from Wisconsin, and sometimes you can hear it in my accent. I'm in Colorado these days, and I feel like I'm shedding it a little bit, but it's always a little weird when I go back to the Midwest and hear the O's and ahs, people say. Like I said, I currently reside in Denver. I have wife, 2 dogs, 3 cats. Former college track and cross country athlete as well. I would love to say that I still do that. I don't, but I do a lot of hiking, and because I live near the Rocky Mountains, how I try to spend my weekends as much as possible. So it's a little about me, but I'm really excited that you're here today, and really love to answer any questions about career services and cybersecurity as a whole. So looking forward to that towards the end.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott. Well, let's dive right in. So a little bit about Flatiron School. We were founded back in 2012. So over a decade of helping people change their careers. So we have a really good track record, really good visibility into the tech community, as well as a pretty good reputation with a majority of the companies that we work with. And we're adding more and more people to that every single day. We do have campuses in New York City, Denver, Colorado, as well as we do have online opportunities for our students, both for full-time and part-time, which I'll get into. We do have other programs outside of cybersecurity. So a lot of this information will apply to that or those programs as well. But as always, you can meet with our admissions team to go over a few more details about that. But we have cybersecurity, data science, product design, and software engineering. And really, we exist to help students just like you get jobs and begin a career in tech. So let's dive into it. So as I mentioned, we have a couple of different ways that you can participate in our Flatiron School programs in cybersecurity. We do have a full-time program that is 15 weeks long. It is a full-time commitment. So you are committed to a Monday through Friday schedule. There is a lunch break. So even though it is 8 hours a day, we typically try to break it up for you. It's not also just straight 8 hours of lecture. You typically have like a lecture in the morning, some labs and assignments that you'll work on, break for lunch, kind of rinse, repeat in the afternoon. So it does give you a variety day to day, but it is that intense program for that 15 weeks. And that is available only online currently for cybersecurity. And then if you are a working person or have other time commitments outside of your 9 to 5, definitely think the flex program would be a great option for you as well. That course is done asynchronously, so everything's pre-recorded and loaded on your learning platform, so you can really log in and work on it whenever works best. Usually it's about 40 weeks if students spend about 20 to 25 hours per week on the program. You can stretch that out to 60 weeks if you need to, but we do want to try to keep students within that 40-week time frame. There is some live sessions that you can join during the week. We have some like guided practices and open office hours for your instructor, as well as you'll set up some one-on-ones to connect with them as you progress through the program. So a lot of support. There is some technical coaches available too, nights and weekends. So if you get stuck on something or need help, there is somebody there to assist you. And that is fully remote, fully online. So there's those two options for you. Let's dive into cybersecurity specifically. So really the goal of cybersecurity in our program is the protection of computer systems from theft or damage to their hardware, software, or electronic data. But basically, in short, we're protecting systems from cyber attacks so people, businesses, and government can operate safely. So we are the white knights. That is cybersecurity, right? And as you see here, there is some different job titles listed. So if you guys are like, what the heck is cybersecurity and what type of job can I do after the program is done? Take a screenshot. This is a really, really great slide to take a look at and do a little bit more of a deep dive. There'll also be some more listed on subsequent slides, which we'll look at now. But this is kind of an overview of what we cover within our cybersecurity engineering program. Foundational courses, there's about 9 of them. So you'll work with network security, system security, threat intelligence, Python, so a little bit of coding, applied cryptography, risk and governance compliance, logs and detections, application security, and even pen testing. So I know that's kind of a buzzword within cybersecurity. So we do get into that just a little bit. Those topics are split over 5 modules, which you'll be creating your portfolio as you go through each of the modules. And it'll all culminate into a capstone project, which will really serve as your applicable job experience and that hands-on experience that companies are looking for. Our program currently does not provide any certifications for our students, but you will have a really, really good base knowledge in order to go out and get those certifications after the course is done, which I'm sure Scott will share a little bit more about later once we get out into career services. But how we kind of support you as a student, if you decide, yep, I want to get into cybersecurity and Flatiron School is the right fit for me. You'll work with my team in admissions. Really, our goal is to help make sure that we find the right program fit. So whether that's the full-time program, whether that's the part-time option, make sure that actually cybersecurity is what you want to get into. So I'll talk a little bit about the admissions process a little bit later in the presentation, but that's what we're here to do. It really is a 360-degree support system that you get to work with here at Flatiron School. After our team and you decide, yep, I want to go with Flatiron School, you'll work with our onboarding team. They really provide you with help with your financing, help with setting up your prep work and getting through that on time. There's some other documentation and things that you'll work through to make sure that you're really prepared for day 1 of class. And then we pass you off to our instructional team, which you'll have a lead instructor and those technical coaches that I mentioned. And they are really there for all the curriculum needs. So teaching you the material that you need to know to go out and get a job after the course is done. You'll also be paired with a student advisor, and really they're there for non-technical support. So if you have any issues within the course, or you need a little bit of extra guidance, or you're struggling with setting a schedule for yourself in the Flex program, that student advisor will be the one that you'll reach out to help kind of make a game plan for you so that you can be successful in the program. So those are kind of the 3 pillars of our in-program side. And then after the course is done, you'll meet with our career coaches. You'll actually do some workshops with them while you're in the course, which Scott will talk a little bit more about. But your career coach is going to be the one that after the program's done, will talk with you, work with you, figure out, what direction you're heading in and how best we can get you there. So we really do try to connect with you as a whole student to make sure you're happy and ready to conquer the world after the course is done. So a little bit deeper into the admissions process, as I promised. So if you're interested in joining our cybersecurity program, you're going to submit a written application to us. You'll also take an assessment. It is a non-technical assessment, so it's more critical thinking and problem solving. So you'll be prompted to do that after you submit your written application. You'll also schedule a 20-minute interview with our admissions team, which again, they'll go through the different programs and make sure that you're aligned with the right one. And then we review your application and give you an admissions decision, as well as allow you to apply for any scholarships that you might be eligible for. So if you see those on our website, definitely reach out to your admissions representative to make sure that they can help you apply for that. But then once you kind of get through that process and know what the big picture looks like, there is a $99 deposit that's due, which basically says, yep, Alyssa, I am good to go and want to move forward with the program. And we'll make sure that, that you'll select a start date, and we'll prepare you for day 1 of class. which means working with our onboarding team to secure financing, sign those enrollment documents and make sure all your paperwork's in. And then also you'll work through about 40 hours worth of prep work for the course. And that really just lays the foundation for everything that you need to know coming into the program. So we really do prepare you well for day one of class. There is a cost to our program, and there's 3 different payment options to cover that cost. Full tuition for the program is $16,900, which you can pay everything up front. There is a 12-month zero interest installment plan, so you would split that tuition price over the 12 months. And then we also do work with a couple of different loan partners, Ascent and Climb, and they do have some different flexible payment options. I think there's some like interest only or possible deferment until after the course is completed. Some different options there for you, but that is based on your credit. So it would depend on what you qualify for. And then, as I mentioned previously, we do offer scholarships to students as well, because we really do believe in diversity and inclusion. So we want to make the course as accessible as possible for our students. So if you're interested in applying for those, definitely reach out to your admissions representative after you apply, and they can make sure you fill out the right form to get that scholarship. So obviously you apply, you go through the program. What's next after that? Hopefully you guys are able to get a job, which Scott will talk a little bit more about in terms of career services and how we help you get to this point. But I did want to highlight some of our outcomes from our jobs report, which I think are really, really good. Currently, from our 2022 jobs report, 80% of cybersecurity graduates who complete a job search cycle, over 30% accepted a job within 30 days, or over 80% accepted a job offer within the reporting period, which I think is really, really good. And it sounds like that could continue to go up after this next jobs report goes up, hopefully with the demand on the rise. Also, 70% of our cybersecurity graduates who accepted offers within the reporting period, over 70% accepted full-time salaried roles. So not only are they just getting like part-time jobs or internships, things like that, but all of these roles that they're accepting look like they are full-time salaried roles. And then the average starting salary for our students is $67,000 for cybersecurity graduates who accepted the full-time salaried roles within the reporting period and disclosed their compensation. Their average salary was at $67,000, which is pretty incredible. So now that we talked a little bit about the jobs report, Scott's going to go over the roadmap on how we get you to those great outcomes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alyssa. So career coaching, I like to think of preparing for a job search like preparing for a marathon, right? You have a timeline, you have a date, right? The marathon happens on a certain day. You can change that date in some way or another, but it may be a different marathon, maybe a different goal, right? But that said, you then work backwards from that goal. You start to plan out, how frequently do I need to exercise in order to hit my goal, right? You set a time that you want to achieve, right? I want to run 3:10, or I want to run under 5 hours, or, I want to run 2:10 and qualify for the Olympic trials or whatever, right? Whatever your pace, everyone has slightly different pace there. Everyone has a slightly different objective, goal, target. And what career coaching does is we come in, we really help you think about what are all the steps that I need to do to be successful in my goal. So we have both a structured and a highly individualized process to help you move forward and to help you progress in your job search, right? We all know that, you can do a job search on your own. Certainly, right? There are students who have found jobs outside of Flatiron School without a career coach, or during their program, if they are networking, they're tapping into their resources, they're maximizing their career services experience. But we know that solely doing it on your own is tough, right? It can feel like monotony, it can feel draining, right? And that's where your career coach is like your personal trainer, like helping you work individual muscles, helping you to really figure out like where can I challenge myself more so that I can get the outcome that I'm looking at within that time frame and be successful in my career. So we help connect the dots between the education that you're gaining out of our program as well as the skills that you've brought in. All of you have skills, all of you have experience, valuable personality or behavioral traits that make you, an incredible addition to a cybersecurity team out there. We find that when positioned correctly, employers are willing to overlook additional qualifications and certifications, years of experience, or whatever, for the sake of giving you an opportunity, because they understand the value of the training that you're receiving. But it's you that differentiates you from all the rest of the candidates, right? And we see this time and time again that people are getting into opportunities that ask for more experience than they have, and they're getting interviews and they're progressing forward and they're getting hired into these roles simply because of that added level of preparation that a career coach supports our job seekers with. So that said, that's just a high level overview. You get one-on-one career coaching, technical and behavioral interview training and support, as much practice around that as you want or as you need in your job search. Cover letter and resume support preparation. So making sure that all of your credentials are best showcasing your technical skills as well as every other unique trait about you. We help you with research, application guidance, things like sourcing job leads. I can tell you that over 70% of the jobs in cybersecurity are never posted online, and may not, right? May not surface in a typical job search, may not fall under that standard naming convention of cybersecurity X, right? And so our expert team is here to really help you uncover what are the skills that I want to use out there in the workforce and what kinds of problems do I want to solve, and help you connect the dots to make that a meaningful value add to that career pathway. We help you with professional networking as well. As I mentioned, over 70% of the jobs in this industry are not posted. So who gets those jobs? Well, it tends to be the people who are out there meeting people, putting themselves in a position to be that diamond in the rough, to get ahead of these interview or application processes, right? So we help you leverage that strategy to really your success, right? And then we also top this all off with an employer partnerships team that you technically have access to from day one with your Hunter profile, which you'll have access to, which will help you keep track of job search, as well as giving you access to the Flatiron School job search portal, which catalogs the opportunities that have come in from our employer partners who have in the past hired our grads and want to continue to reinforce their funnels and pipelines for the future. So that said, we have a very proactive community of events that are very employer focused or alumni focused. You always get an opportunity to learn something. Both during the program, you'll have an opportunity to go through all of our career workshops as well. So we'll help you get a big head start on your job search so you're ready by the time you graduate to hit the ground running. And then, as I mentioned, the career coaching support and employer partnership support into your job search after graduation. So this roadmap gives you a little bit of an idea of what that structured process looks like, but we really work to meet you in the middle and help you prioritize where you know you need to grow the most.
Love that. Thanks so much, Scott. This is always my favorite part of this presentation, is to hear you chat about how we help our students, because that's the goal, right? This is just a very small list of some of the names that have hired our grads out of our program. So a lot of big names out there, but there is a lot of really small companies as well that are looking for really good talent. So, sometimes those big names aren't always the goal, and there's some smaller ones out there as well. But these are some great options for our students post graduation. But with a few minutes left here, I definitely want to open the floor up to you all to ask any questions that maybe we didn't cover throughout the course of the presentation. If any admissions questions for myself, or any career coaching questions for Scott, or anything in between. But if you guys want to post those in the chat feature, I would love to be able to field those for you before we sign off. It's a good one. So someone asked how much prior IT experience is required to sign up for this course. So our cybersecurity program is very beginner friendly, so you don't really have to have much prior experience. The prep course that I mentioned will kind of give you that roadmap of the prior knowledge that is requested for our students to know. And so you can really use that as a guide. If you've never done cybersecurity before, use that. And you might have to do a little bit of additional study as you're doing prep, but anybody can get into cybersecurity. And also Scott can kind of mention that too, or talk about that if he's seen a lot of students in that space.
Yeah, we've seen students come in with master's degrees in cybersecurity that had, 5+ years of software engineering and cybersecurity experience who've benefited from our programs. And we've seen people who've worked as lifeguards who had, less than an associate's degree or background, find their place in cybersecurity and circumvent that traditional IT step into the industry. We're seeing less growth on the IT side and more growth on the cybersecurity side, right? We're seeing a demand within IT organizations for professionals who have an understanding of cybersecurity tools in some way or another. So this is a value added asset that a lot of people, even with IT experience, are working to substantiate for themselves. So really great question.
Yes, absolutely. Our curriculum is available online. You can go and download our syllabus from our website. If you click on courses on the top and click on cybersecurity, it'll have a link to download our syllabus, so you can kind of see the whole shebang all in one fell swoop. We also have integrated a little bit of AI into our curriculum, as we're seeing the market request that from students to have some base knowledge of that and how that integrates into cybersecurity. As far as a timeline goes, so within our program, it really depends on which option you choose as far as the education piece, right? You can do the full-time 15 weeks in and out in about 4 months, and then obviously starting your job search. That job search time, you do get your career coach for about 6 months, and Scott can probably share a little bit of what he's seeing in terms of average time frame for students to get a job. It really does depend on the student itself. But we also offer that flexible option, so it could take a little bit longer if you are going through it at a part-time pace, either after work or with other time commitments. So it really kind of depends on the student, but you can get out as soon as 4 months and take as long as maybe even a year and a half. So Scott, do you want to share a little bit about kind of what you're seeing in the market right now?
Yeah, average days of placement obviously depends on the student, really depends on what they're doing during their program as well. There's, like I said, a percentage of students that graduate with jobs in hand. So that would be 0. But on average, we see right around 90 days from graduation to placement for people finding jobs within the industry. That's pretty standard. On average, within the IT industry, within technical industry, it takes about 45 to 55 days from application to hire, which is fairly common. Some companies move faster than that, but there have been some delays. People are moving forward. People are getting hired into these positions. And so I would say it really highly depends on a number of factors that may be out of our control, that may be in control of the market, that may be in control of the student. But we really help the student focus again on what's in their control. What are the things they can do? What is their timeline? And how can you be successful? Right? Because it's really hard to be successful in your job search if you only have an hour a week to commit versus people who have maybe 40 hours a week to commit in their job search. So really depends on you and your capacity.
Yes, I feel like just in the program in general, what you put into it, just like anything, is what you're going to get out of it. And so if you work really hard in the program, build connections, build that portfolio up, as well as your connection with your career coach, and do the things that you're asking or they're asking of you, I definitely think that time to finding your first cybersecurity job will definitely decrease. I see one more question in here that's asked about payment options or payment plans after you're hired. And is there a way to connect or ask questions of current students? So those are really good questions. As far as payment plans, so we do have the Ed Aid installment plan that would split the payment over 12 months, and that starts a little bit after you would actually start the program. And then we do have our loan partners that offer some deferment options till after the program is complete. I think it's like a 3-month or a 6-month option. And since you do get your career coach for that 6 months, that might allow you to hopefully find a job before you would start repayment. But there is no like job guarantee or like repayment till when you get a job, things like that. It would just be those loan partners that you would work with. And I would definitely encourage you guys, if you haven't gone already onto our Flatiron School LinkedIn page, there is a whole alumni section in there, and you can click on that and you can type in cybersecurity, and you can feel free to reach out and DM any of our cybersecurity students, because they were in your boat at one point. Sometimes they don't respond, but they're definitely, a lot of them, open to connecting with our prospective students. So if you want to reach out, or there's somebody that works for a company that is your dream company, definitely reach out and start that networking. I definitely know too, Scott has some different connections to our students too, and I'm sure has a few that he could recommend. If you want to reach out to us, definitely do that, and we can try to get you guys connected.
Yeah, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm connected with just about all of our cybersecurity alumni at the very least, but the Flatiron School LinkedIn page, that alumni tab, there's, excuse me, 13,806 alumni that have connected their profiles to LinkedIn at the moment, which is fantastic. Some of those are learners at the moment, but you can certainly go through and take a look and figure out where people work, how they position their experience from Flatiron School as well to their advantage. It's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do this without losing our our slide deck here, but that is the link to the alumni tab, so you guys can take a look at that. But I think we are just about out of time. So if there wasn't a question that we answered, feel free to reach out to admissions@flatironschool.com, and we will definitely point you in the right direction. If you are interested in applying for the program, you can go to flatironschool.com/apply and fill out an application. Your admissions representative will also be a really great resource for you moving forward and can answer any questions that you guys might have, or if they don't know, we'll do some research for you. You can also, if you're still curious and want to ask a few questions before applying, you can also schedule a chat with one of our admissions team representatives, and they can also answer additional questions or help you guys with. But awesome. And I know Scott just put something in the chat there too. Did you want to say any final words there, Scott?
Yeah. I mean, I think people ask all the time about certifications. It's a really common question, and I think concern for people about that, how to navigate that. And the reality is that, career coach will help you figure out what is the best learning pathway for you going forward, help you make a decision about whether or not it's something that you need. But that's the most common certification that people choose to pursue is Security Plus. It has greatest kind of applicability to our curriculum, and most people see it as review. But that said, it's a great question to ask. What are all the things that I can learn in IT and cybersecurity? And there's a lot of free resources out there, so definitely dive in.
Love that. Awesome. Again, thank you guys so much for spending your afternoon with us. A recording will go out to you at the end of this if you signed up for the webinar, and feel free to reach back out to us if you guys need anything in the future. Thanks, guys.